The outer patrol lines of the Orion Rim were silent when the listening post came alive. Black space twisted with static on every screen, feeding fractured audio into the ship's bridge speakers. The crew of the Raven held their breath. Commander Jack Holt stood at the center console, shoulders stiff beneath the black combat jacket. "Run it again," he said. Lieutenant Maradine tapped the controls. The sound played in a low mechanical voice, broken by static and distortion. It wasn't a human channel, but the rhythm of the pulse was too deliberate to be random. Sweat ran down her temple as she looked up. "That's structure, sir. It's not noise." Holt's eyes flicked to the tactical map. Their mission was routine border sweep, nothing more than chasing smugglers who crossed into the empty sectors. But now the map showed a faint sphere of energy beyond the limit of any known beacon. No transponder, no ID, nothing. "Set a course," he said. "See who's out there." The engines burned blue as the Raven cut through the stars. The ship was a narrow gun frigate, all sharp edges and scars from the last war. Inside, the lights carried the dull flicker of power converters on overload. The air smelled like metal and coolant. Mara sat at her console, scanning the readouts. Signal source is stable. It's attached to a solid object. Size massive. Cole Rivers, the engineer, muttered from the back of the bridge. "Whatever it is, it woke up after 200 years of quiet. That's never good news." Holt didn't answer. His jaw was tight. He had fought enough dead wars to know what silence meant. It meant something wanted to stay hidden. It dropped out of jump above a gray planetoid circling a dying star. The light was cold and weak, barely reaching the surface. Dust storms moved across the rocks like smoke, Mara said, reading a structure under the equator ridge. The crew sealed into tactical suits and boarded the surface shuttle. The descent was rough. Lightning flashed below as plasma wind struck the hull. Holt kept one hand on the grip rail, eyes fixed on the storm beyond the glass. When they landed, the dust was knee-deep and dry as ash. The building before them was half buried in the ridge, metal fused with stone. Its surface bore marks of heat and impact, like something had tried to destroy it and failed. They moved inside. The corridor swallowed their helmet lights, walls coated with old carbon scoring. The sound of their boots echoed through the tunnels. Mara stopped at a sealed door and ran a power line into the panel.
Ow.
The voltage spike cracked through the chamber, and the door slid open. Inside was a hall filled with broken machines, each one the shape of weapons Holt had seen only in history archives. Cole crouched beside a damaged console. "This is human work, pre-expansion era. Look at the alloy lines." No doubt, Holt's gaze fell on the far wall where a single line of text was carved into the metal. The words were old, worn by time, but still clear. It said, "Asterisk, we came back. Asterisk." For a moment, nobody spoke. Only the pulse of their heart monitors filled the air. Mara's voice trembled. "Sir, how old is this place?" "Older than our entire fleet," Holt said. "Maybe older than Earth Command itself." Their radios cracked to life with a piercing tone. The Raven in orbit called down, "Commander, you might want to come topside." The station just lit up like a fusion core. Holt turned toward the tunnel mouth. The ground shook under his feet. From beyond the ridge, a beam of red light cut upward into the sky. Grid of energy spread like spider lines across the horizon, locking onto targets above. The comm officer on the Raven screamed over the channel, "They're targeting us." "Human code, sir? Human fire control? Signatures? It's reading us as hostiles." Then the signal went dead. Holt looked up through the storm and saw the sky burn alive with thousands of crimson targeting beams, all sharpening on their own ship. The ground shook so hard, the dust fell in sheets from the tunnel ceiling. Holt shoved Mara and Cole toward the exit. Sirens howled from their suits as debris rained down. "Move!" he shouted. "To the shuttle." Outside, the plain of rock had split open. The air glowed bright with red lightning from the planet's crust. Across the sky, the Raven was diving under heavy fire from the planet's new defense grid. White plasma streaks burned through the clouds. The frigate twisted as her shields flickered. Then she disappeared behind a column of smoke. "Raven, respond," Holt yelled into his comm. Only static answered. They took off in the shuttle, climbing through the storm. Inside, the hull rattled, like it would break apart. Mara fought the controls, hands shaking. Cole tightened the straps around his chest. Every sensor showed the same thing. The entire surface below was one giant weapon platform. Holt stared at the dead star ahead. "Get us close to orbit. We have to know if anyone's alive up there." The shuttle broke through the clouds into dark space. All around them floated shards of wreckage. Fires burned on what was left of the Raven's hull. One side of the ship was gone. Mara covered her mouth. God, they didn't even have a chance. "Keep the channel open," Holt said softly. "If there's a signal, I want it." For a moment, there was nothing but the hum of the engines. Then a faint digital tone cut through the static. It wasn't distress code. It was a file transfer request encoded in old Terran defense format. The date read here 5123. Cole stared at the numbers. "That's impossible. That file's older than our entire fleet system." "Play it," Holt ordered. A small screen lit the cabin. The image was cracked and grainy. Old war footage. Soldiers in power armor marched across city ruins. Their banners showed the same symbol Holt had seen carved on the wall below. Human letters, half erased by time. The file changed to a map of the galaxy, glowing red over 1,000 marked worlds. In the corner blinked a line of text. Asterisk return program initiated. Reclaim sectors lost to decay. Asterisk Mara's voice turned cold. This was us. Cole looked out the viewport, face pale. So who sent the beacon then? If that base was ours and it went dark 10 millennia ago, who turned it on again? Nobody answered. Shuttle drifted among the wreckage. Small lights flickered in the distance near the planet's edge. Dozens at first, then hundreds, forming a pattern, steady and organized. Holt's come light blinked. Raven identification signal detected, the shuttle's computer said. Mara frowned. That's not possible. The Raven's gone. Cole checked the sensors. It's their encryption, but the code signature is wrong. Age estimate shows multiple centuries old. Holt's stomach tightened. Track it. The sensors zoomed toward the source. The image that came up didn't show a wreck. It was a fleet. Warships filled the black sky beyond the dying star. Massive, hard-edged, built with human design older than any record. Their drives burned bright like city lights. Mara whispered. They're broadcasting in our own language. Orders, deployment grids, communication relays. Sir, that's a command network. Cole's voice cracked. A command network run by who? We don't have ships like that. Not anymore, Holt said. The nearest warship turned toward them. It moved slow and deliberate, like a predator that already knew its target couldn't run. The sensors screamed warnings. Someone just locked weapons, Mara said. Holt opened a channel and forced his voice steady. Identify yourself. Static. Then, through the noise, a woman's calm voice broke through in perfect English. Commander Holt, she said, you found what was left behind. Stand down. Humanity's rule never ended. You just forgot who the rulers were. The transmission cut off. Outside the window, the massive ship angled its guns directly at them and powered up. The first blast hit the shuttle so hard the lights went out and the walls buckled. The crew slammed against their belts. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Holt smelled burned wiring and fuel smoke. Evasive, he shouted. Mara pulled the controls into a dive. The shuttle dropped fast, engines screaming against the gravity pull. Another beam sliced past them, lighting the cockpit red. Cole yelled from the back, shields failing. We can't take another. Send distress to command, Holt barked. All frequencies. Static filled the cabin. The deep, calm voice returned on the comm. Stop running, the woman said. You are among your own kind. Identify yourself. Holt snapped. This is Admiral Kyra Vale, Imperium Fleet 1. You are entering protected territory of the First Human Empire. You will power down. Holt's grip tightened on the rail. Imperium, it's ancient myth. Vale's reply came smooth and steady. Not myth. Memory. Another impact shook the shuttle and hurled it into a spiral. Mara fought for control, teeth gritted. The world spun black and white outside the viewport. Holt climbed over to her side and hit the stabilizer switch. The ship steadied, only just. Take us behind that debris field, he said. We'll lose them in the wreckage. They vanished under the shadow of shattered cruisers, drifting like metal skeletons. The engines whined low. Inside, the crew heard only the ticking of the cooling pipes. Cole spoke in a whisper. "Sir, if those ships are human, that means they have our weapons, our codes, everything. We're finished if they decide to attack full strength." "Not yet," Holt said. "We figure out what they want." Minutes later, Earth Command finally came through on the transmitter. The voice on the other end was harsh and tired. "Commander Holt, we received your footage. The Council has seen the data. Then you know what's out here," Holt said. "Affirmative. You were ordered to open negotiation. And if that fails, you know protocol." Holt looked at Mara. She stared back without speaking. Both knew what protocol meant. Extermination order. No capture, no surrender. Vale's fleet moved into formation. The ships spread wide across the sector, thousands of them. They filled the entire starfield. "She's got an army out there," Mara whispered. "Bigger than Earth's entire defense network." Cole pointed at his panel. "Message incoming. She's requesting direct boarding. Says she'll talk face to face." On the small, cracked display, Vale's image flickered into view. Her uniform bore rank symbols older than the Federation itself. Her eyes were calm, but sharp as glass. "You are my bloodline," she said. "Your name carries our crest. You belong to the first empire that ruled these stars. You will come aboard immediately." Holt froze. "My bloodline?" Vale nodded once. "Your family built the fleets that conquered the rim sectors 9,000 years ago. You left us behind. We survived. Now we return." The signal cut. Silence filled the cabin. Cole stared wide. "She knows you. She said your family built her ships." Mara's voice trembled. "Jack, if that's true, what does she want from you?" Holt didn't answer. His mind spun with the faces of people long dead, family legends told as bedtime stories. None of it had ever mattered. Now it did. He keyed the intercom. "Set course for their flagship. We'll go under truce." Mara turned on him. "You're walking into their hands." "Maybe, but we need answers." The shuttle moved toward the largest ship in the Imperium formation. Its hull was the size of a continent, black and cold, edges glowing faint gold, where armor met reactor flow. Docking clamps rose from the surface like blades. Inside the cockpit, no one breathed as they came in to land. The hatch opened with a hiss, and bright white floodlights filled the airlock. Holt stepped onto the deck. The walls of the hangar stretched higher than any building he had ever seen. Rows of soldiers in dark armor stood waiting, silent. At the far end of the hall, Admiral Vale waited in a beam of light. Behind her rose a battle flag, torn but intact. Holt froze as he saw it. It was the same family emblem etched on the old metal wall of the dead planet. The hangar's silence pressed on Holt like weight. The air smelled of ozone and machine oil. Soldiers lined both sides of the deck, helmets down, rifles steady. Not one moved. Admiral Kyra Vale stopped 10 steps in front of him. Her armor was marked with years of battle scars. Her face bore the hard calm of someone who had waited too long for this moment. "You were born to command," she said quietly. "Your family once ruled the Terran systems under my flag. You carry their blood." Holt kept his tone flat. "Those people are legends, stories to scare cadets." Vale gave a small smile. "Stories built empires. Yours built this one." Behind her, massive viewports revealed the fleet outside. Thousands of ships moved in perfect formation. Their drives ignited space like a line of fire. "You call yourself the Imperium," Holt said. "But humanity already has a government. It's not yours. Your Federation is a broken shadow. You trade fear for order. You think that's peace?" "No," she said. "You are weak because you forgot what your kind is meant to be." Holt glanced at the guards. "You think you still rule us? 1,000 years passed? Your relics?" Vale stepped closer, until they were face to face. "Watch your tone, Commander. My fleet could erase your world in an hour, but I offer you something far greater." "What?" She placed a data crystal on the floor between them. The projectors flared to life, showing frozen worlds scattered through the galaxy. Billions of people trapped in deep cryonic pods, entire cities under ice. "Our ancestors built these vaults when the last war burned the stars," Vale said. "Each one holds human life waiting to wake again. My fleet is ready to bring them back. You will help me do that." "You're talking about resurrecting an empire that tore itself apart," Holt said. I'm talking about finishing what we started, she replied. Join me, Holt. Your name will open network codes I cannot reach. Together we command every ship that ever served under your bloodline. And together we will rule again. He laughed once, sharp and bitter. Rule? You called genocide rule? You built weapons that leveled worlds because no one would bow to you? Vale's eyes didn't blink. Sometimes humanity must burn to be pure. Holt's stomach turned. He backed away from the glow of the projection. Then you're no savior. You're the disease we escaped. For the first time, there was emotion in her voice. Careful, Commander. Earth will not survive without us. We move on Sol in 48 hours. Its leaders will either kneel or vanish. Vale gestured to her escort. Return him to his ship. Let him think on what side he wants to die with. 2 soldiers led Holt back down the long metal corridor. The doors shut behind him with a hiss that felt final. Inside the shuttle again, Mara grabbed his arm. What happened in there? She's going to attack Earth, Holt said. 48 hours. She believes I'm her key to winning. Are you? He shook his head. Not if I can stop her. Back aboard the Raven's wreckage, patched with emergency plating, Cole had been combing through intercepted transmissions. He turned as Holt entered. Sir, I've got chatter from their lower fleet channels. Every ship is tied to a command network. You could shut the whole thing down with an override. Holt looked at him. If we use that code, no one walks away. It'll trigger the reactors. Cole swallowed hard. It's better that than Earth burning. Hours later, inside the half-dead bridge, Holt sat alone and loaded the encryption Vale had given him. The ship's AI flickered to life. Command codes accepted, it said. Mara stepped out of the shadows. She had heard everything. You're really going to do it, she said softly. He nodded. If her fleet disappears, everything dies with it, including us. Then let's make it count. The screens around them lit with red arcs tracing every Imperium ship in the sector. Holt's thumb hovered over the key. The computer spoke again, voice lower this time. Command conflict detected. Override in progress. Override? From where? Mara asked. The answer came through the speakers in Vale's voice, calm as ever. I told you we share blood, Jack. You can't kill what you are. The command lock sealed. Every red arc on the screen flickered, then turned blue. Vale had stolen control. The entire bridge shook as Vale's voice faded through the speakers. Warning lights strobed across the room. The hum of the engines turned to a rising scream. Reactor spikes across every system, Cole shouted from the engineering pit. She's got us linked into her network. We just became a node in her fleet. Holt slammed his fist into the console. Kill the uplink. Can't, Mara said. She rerouted our own AI against us. They could all hear the pulse of the override signal, a low electric throb running through the hull. Vale was rewriting their ship's code line by line. The Raven wasn't theirs anymore. Holt stared at the tactical map. Thousands of Imperium ships were in motion around the dying star. They were forming a jump corridor toward the inner systems. Straight to Earth. She's going to start the invasion, Mara said. She already has, Holt answered. Cole ripped a panel from the deck and forced a bypass line into the reactor feed. If we clip the central core, we cut her hold on us. No guarantees after that. Do it, Holt said. The hull shuddered again. A deep roar rolled across the metal floor as Imperium cannons fired somewhere beyond the viewports. Through the glass, the fleet's engines flared white, preparing for hyperspace ignition. 30 seconds to jump, Mara warned. Cole's hands shook inside burnt gloves. Sparks bit across his sleeves. Almost there. The deck erupted with light. Systems died. The main screens went black. For one breath, there was silence. Then the low murmur of the AI returned in Vale's voice. I gave you a chance, Holt. You would have stood beside me as the blood of kings. Do not throw that away. Holt's face hardened. I was never your soldier. The reactor doors sealed as automatic bulkheads snapped shut. Holt saw Mara run for the manual controls. He knew what she was about to do even before she looked back. Don't, he said. If we lose Earth, it's all for nothing, she said. Her voice was steady, but tears cut through the soot on her face. Can't stop her, but I can finish this, Mara. She gripped the override lever with both hands, and pulled. The emergency sirens went off, deep and sharp. The ship's reactors began a fast ignition countdown. The lights dimmed. Heat rolled through the decks. Cole backed away from the rising glow under the floor. She armed the drive. "We're gonna blow the whole grid." Holt caught Mara's wrist, but she pushed him back. "You taught us what we are, Commander. Don't take it back now." He looked at her for 1 second more, then turned to the comm. "This is Holt to all fleets. Fireline protocol active. Get clear now." Across the void, Vale's flagship turned toward them. Her face appeared on the screen, sharp and calm against the chaos. "You are making a mistake," she said. "No," Holt replied. "I'm making history." The countdown hit 0. The Raven's core erupted. A white shockwave slammed through the darkness, folding space into light. The blast tore Vale's formation apart. Hulls split, drives collapsed, then silence. When the light faded, the area around the dying star was carved to dust. Only burning fragments drifted where 2 great fleets had been. Far away at Earth Command, the signal feed cut out mid-broadcast. The transmission replayed once more before ending. Holt's voice came through the static, calm and final. "Humanity doesn't kneel, not to gods, not to ghosts." The signal went dark. The signal went dark. Weeks later, salvage crews found only wreckage. They saw no survivors. Yet from time to time, deep relay stations at the rim would catch an echo and unknown call sign whispering through the static, carrying an old Terran ID tag. Its message was short and clear. "We came back.